Well, here's something I don't think I've ever seen in Arkansas in all the years I've lived here. It's only the 14th, I believe it is, of November, and we've got snow. We never get snow in November. I don't remember it ever snowing in November. Usually it's December. And you know what the weirdest part is? In a couple of days, the temperature's going up into the 60s. Somebody explain that one. Well, it's the next day, and as you can see, the sun is out and all the snow that we got is gone. That's what's nice about living in the deep south. When it comes snow, it's here today and gone today. So, anyway, the temperature's kind of nice out here. Things are finally beginning to cooperate a little bit, and it'll be even warmer tomorrow and the next day. So let's go out and I'll show you what I got done in the trunk of the Thunderbird before it got really cold and the snow hit. And by the way, all those things I bought at Harbor Freight the other day that I showed you in the last video, they came about as a result of our oldest grandson buying me a gift card for Harbor Freight for my birthday. He said, I don't know what to get you, but I know you like to buy some things at Harbor Freight, so here's a gift card. Fantastic, worked out great. You know, things that will not come off of our budget. Speaking of budget, at the end of this video, we'll do an update on the budget and see how well we're doing on, you know, items for the Thunderbird. If it turns out that we have to throw a little more money into the pot, that's what we'll do. But right now I don't see that happening. So let's go inside and take a look at the trunk. This entire area back here has been ground down with the wire brush. I couldn't use my small moto tool on that. Too big of an area. You'll remember, if you look at past videos, I had a whole bunch of crap on there. I don't know what it was. It looked to me like it was you know, cement that they used to glue the carpet down or something. I don't know. But once I got it all cleaned up, it was just sticking up everywhere, and it's now nice and smooth. It doesn't look it in the camera, but that's nice and smooth all the way around. Took it down pretty darn good, and it's all primed. I went down to Walmart and picked up a brass brush for that. I didn't want to use a heavy-duty grinder brush on it. The brass brush worked pretty good. So all I have left to do now is this side over here, and then down around this area here. For getting down in that crevice, again, I had to have something different than my rotary tool little wire brush. So I went, while I was down there picking up the brass brush, I went ahead and picked up this nylon 80 grit abrasive wheel. Got little fingers, really thin, and it has little, I don't know, just bristles, I guess is what they are. And they should be able to get down in there and get almost all of that out. Once it's out, or to get it out the best I can, I'll go ahead and prime it really good, and then we'll put some what they call seam sealer in there. We'll go ahead and seal that entire thing. Then we'll go ahead and prime over the top of it, and then go ahead and, of course, paint. And these two plugs right here, these are drain plugs. They were kind of laying loose when I got the car and cleaned everything out and took out the old nasty cardboard bottom and everything. They were just kind of sitting there loose. They weren't even screwed down. I threw them in a box. We'll dig them out later and take a look. Right now, I'm taking the other two out. We have two here, one there, and one over here. The other one is there. We'll go ahead and take them out and see what they look like. And then we'll work on those. But that's what's been going on with the trunk. We are making progress, even though the cold weather has hit. Yeah, I expect when the temperature hits 60 in the next couple of days, I'll be able to get in there and, I don't know, hopefully knock out almost all of it. And then we can, I have to do the lid a little bit. There's a few spots on the lid here and there. You know, you can see one there, and a little bit up here on the edge, you know, of the lid. Let me get a little closer here. There's a little bit along there. It's all surface stuff. Should come right out with that brass brush. But anyway, let me go ahead and keep working here on these last two plugs. Now here's what those plugs look like. They were just laying loose down in there. And the top, I have no idea what that is. They just painted over it, whatever. I'll have to dig all that out. And then the rear looks like, you know, from the bottom. This would be from the bottom of the car. Looks like they just loaded it up with undercoating or something. I don't know, either that or somebody loaded it up themselves and then stuck it down in there, you know, just to keep it from leaking or something. We're going to see what we can do about that. They both look exactly the same. They're just really cruddy. Got to fix it. Well, I scraped all that crap off the top and with my pocket knife, and of course what was underneath there, I mean, how could I expect anything less? More rust. Anyway, a lot of it came off. We're going to worry about that later. At least we got the crud out of there. My primary concern is this stuff on the back. It's really thick. Look how thick that is. And this side here, this one here still has to be scraped. I'll scrape that one down. We'll do the same thing. So how am I tried to pick some of this off the back with my pocket knife. It was almost impossible. And I don't want to bend this thing any. So what do we do? Well, I decided to come up with another one of my brilliant ideas. I'm going to go ahead and put it on this aluminum foil, like so. And I'm going to scrape this one off first, clean it up a little bit more. Then we'll put them face down like that. I'll put them in the oven on the warm temperature, and then just kind of let them soften up a little bit, and then hopefully they'll scrape on off. Anyway, if that doesn't work, we'll try plan B. Wifey says with her being down and out, this is not her oven anymore. Well, it's actually her oven, but I'm the chief cook and bottle washer around here now, so guess what? The oven, you know, works for car parts too. Well, that works pretty darn good. Look at the back of these suckers now. Alright. The object was not to get it too hot to where it melted. You wanted it, you know, soft and pliable. Sort of in between in that sweet spot. And once I grabbed one edge of it and began to peel and peel and peel, it just peeled it right off the back of each one. Now all I gotta do is clean them up, de-rust them, paint them, and work on the other two. The other two that came out of the trunk closest to the rear of the car, they're not quite as bad. There's your undercoating. A lot of sealer around the outside edge, but you know, same thing. Rust on this side and that side. Right now I've got to go down to Harbor Freight. When I come back I'll mess with these two. Harbor Freight, I've got to do a plan B to something I bought the other day. Alright, let's take a look at this plan B business. Now, in the last video I showed you I had gone to Harbor Freight, picked up a whole bunch of stuff, and I've already just told you it was on a gift card given to me by our oldest grandson, and I bought this pneumatic cutter. It's a 3-inch disc cutter. Come on, focus in, people. Okay, and this thing here, I bought 3 discs to go with it. I was going to use it to cut out the floorboard of the car. You know, then you know that's rusted, so I could have a new piece put in. Well, since I bought this thing, I found out something I wish I'd have known prior to buying it. But you know, live and learn, as they say. I'm going to keep it because I'll sooner or later have a use for it. I saw something on a YouTube video that I thought was even better than that for cutting out the floorboards. And here it is right here. It's called a high-speed, it's a small reciprocating saw is what it is, called an air saw. Works off of air, has the same kind of pneumatic operating handle that the disc does. You just go ahead and take it like that. And it has a little blade. And it's a lot quieter. It doesn't throw sparks and metal and all kinds of junk everywhere while you're cutting. I bought a pack of blades to go with it. This is the coarse. You can get coarse and fine. And I saw that guy using this thing on YouTube, and it just cut right along. And it made no sparks. The metal was not flying everywhere. You know, with something like this, you're going to have sparks and metal and all kinds of crap everywhere as that grinding wheel goes down that metal. It's going to be loud, and yeah, it works off of air, but still, you know, the grinding of that wheel is going to throw crap all over the inside of that car, which is, you know, the car's already got enough crap on the inside of it. Don't need any more. But he marked out the floor panel he wanted to cut out. He put the blade, you know, he put his blade in, and he just took this little baby and fired it up, and he just went. Well, you do it with the angled guard flat against the metal, and you kind of cut. He just cut right along like that, all the way down, and he drilled a hole in the corner, and then he stuck the blade in the hole, and then he came down this way after he marked out what he wanted to cut. I thought that was great. I still had some money left on that gift card. I checked with Harbor Freight. Sure enough, I think it was $18. What a heck of a deal! So I went ahead and bought it, and I bought I have to, of course, buy another fitting for it. Everything requires a fitting that'll go in the end here to hook the air hose to. I've got to hook those, get those things screwed in. And I bought the blades, so the whole deal was that's a pretty heavy little piece of equipment too. Anyway, I just wanted you to see that's plan B, and actually it's going to probably be plan A. If this fails, then I'll go back to this. But right now, what I saw on that YouTube video, I just don't see how it can fail. That was the neatest thing. It just put a real thin cut all the way along, just as straight as can be. Just thought I'd let you know that. Very cheap, very neat. It's called an air saw or just a high-speed metal saw. Nifty, okay? By the way, there'll be 2 more things I'll be buying right after the first of the year, right after Christmas, actually. And I won't tell Brendan what one of them is because he'll start getting all over my case, you know. Oh, you don't need that. Don't get that one. You know. We're already battling it out over a particular item I want. He wants one thing, I want another. I'll tell you what, that boy is getting to be a little independent for my blood. I'm going to have to shorten up his chain. But it's going to be down the pike a little ways. You know, we have Christmas coming up, and the wife said, enough with the money spending. I wouldn't even have bought this if it hadn't been for the gift card. I would have waited till after Christmas. But she said, okay, as long as you got a gift card and it's not costing anything, go ahead. She wants to give money this year as Christmas presents instead of gifts. We're too old to be buying and wrapping gifts, and I agree with her. We'll just give each of the person, we're going to give it to the family. Family monetary gifts. Solves our whole problem. If they don't like it, they can give the money back. I'll use it to buy parts for the Thunderbird. The old trunk has been completely derusted the best I can do anyway. Unfortunately, in the process of doing it, we discovered a few holes. There's a couple right there, and there's a few over in this area here. We got some holes here and there that I'm going to have to do something about at a later date. I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to fix that, but that's the way she goes, you know. You run into that stuff in these old cars. But anyway, all the rust, or 99.9% of it, has been removed. And as you know, I did that one earlier. This back here has been given a nice light coat and then a paint ready, and so is this. We'll go ahead and put some primer on this, let it dry, and then slap some of that Wimbledon white on it. See what she looks like when we're done. Well, that's about it, guys, except for the holes you can still see down there. A couple of small holes here and there. Except for those and, you know, the trunk lid itself. The inside of the trunk is pretty much done. Now, back up in there, we can't get to until we remove the back seat. We'll have to get all up in there from the inside of the car. But that thing right there, which is the controller for the taillights, the sequential taillights, that's a motor-driven type of worm gear-like thing that they put in a bag and taped it up. We're going to be tearing all that apart anyway, taking a look at it. Which will give me 2 options. I'll either be able to fix this. There's a nice procedure on the internet on how to do that. A Thunderbird restoration guy showed exactly how to do it. As long as everything is functioning and is fine, we might be able to repair it. If not, there's a solid state device I can buy that'll hook in, take the place of all those relays and all that junk you see up there, and still gives us our sequential taillights. So that's where we're standing right now. The trunk looks pretty nice. I may put a little more paint on the bottom and a few thin spots, but other than that, I think we're in pretty good shape as far as the trunk goes. Well, now that we have the trunk painted, looking good inside, I'm just going to let it dry for a few days. The next time we come out and work on the old T-Bird, we're going to drop the drive shaft. We're going to drop the, we're going to cut loose the bolts that are holding the axle and the rear end to the leaf springs. We're going to raise up the axle. Then we're going to take loose the leaf springs. We're going to drop the leaf springs down and get them out of there. And we're going to haul out the rear end, get it out here in this area where I can clean it up, probably swing it on around in this area here. Give it a good wire brushing, give it a good painting, clean it up real good. And while I'm at it, I'll probably jerk out the drive shaft. And let's take a look at both the universal joints. The one on this end that connects to the rear end, and the universal joint on the other end, which connects to the tail shaft, the yoke and the tail shaft of that inserts into the tail shaft of the transmission. So If you want to see how all that's done, come back and see us on the next video. Now, of course, that all depends if the weather cooperates, because I'm not coming out here in 30-degree weather and doing that. So that's going to be kind of a lot of fun. It probably seems like a lot of work, but it's really not. And I'll show you why it's not that much work when we do it. Tell you what, let's go ahead and wrap this video up with a little bit of information for one of our good subscribers, Buzz1151. A while back, old Buzz, he was spray canning a finish on a floor model radio cabinet. Oh, he was wearing his little finger out, you know, and he would take his thumb when his finger got tired, and you know, it was just pitiful situation. I kind of laughed watching him do it, trying to spray that giant cabinet using his little finger. I knew the agony he was going through, because after a while it just killed. Matter of fact, the next day his finger was probably sore. Mine always is. What he should have used was a spray handle, which he somehow never learned about. And I don't know why. You know, people mentioned it to him afterwards. Said, "Why didn't you get one of those spray handles to put on the can?" And you know, he went, "Well, I didn't know anything about that stuff." You know. Well, anyway, here's one right here. It's made by Rust-Oleum, and since I'm doing a lot of spraying inside the trunk and a few other places I'll eventually be spraying, you know, I needed one also. So what you do is you line up your spray nozzle, you know, the spray part here, you know, in that direction, whatever direction you want, which would be away from this hole, you know, shooting out the hole. And this is a really sturdy one. Some of them are really cheap junk, but you don't want a cheap junk one. This is a really good one made by Rust-Oleum. You squeeze these things together and it opens it up. It enables you to put it around the neck of the can, okay? And then you release it, and it's very sturdy. Now it needs to be centered just a little bit more. Right about there, I guess, is good. Maybe not quite. Let's get it just right. I want it kind of in the middle here. Okay. And then all you got to do is pull the handle. Okay, see how easy that is? All right, a little bit of info for my buddy Buzz up there in Portland. Until next time, this is John.